Hello and welcome to Drive It, the DW Car Show. Coming up, a Porsche 356 with almost 1 million miles on the clock. Ford's sporty new Focus RS. And Volvo's latest XC90 SUV. Car tester Sascha Knapp describes Geely Automobile's acquisition of the Volvo brand from Ford in 2010 as a last-minute rescue. At first, the new ownership constellation did not seem to bode well, but after 3 years, the Chinese car and motorcycle maker's nearly €10 billion investment program is starting to produce results, like the latest XC90. The updated model introduces a new design vocabulary. Our car tester Tanju Genç inspects the Swedish carmaker's new flagship inside and out. In Norse mythology, Thor is the god of thunder, overflowing with masculinity and strength, he says. The hammer and those qualities are reflected in the new XC90. Like here, in the headlights, for instance. He wants to look at what the Swedish brand has to offer in its new design. The distinctive new grille and T-shaped LED daytime running lights give the SUV a confident air, a face that in future is to grace all of Volvo's models. The elegant and luxurious package of extras is called the Inscription. Even with the changes great and small, from the back the XC90 is unmistakably a Volvo. Tanju notices quite a few changes in the model's interior. There's a digital instrument cluster and a 22.8-inch head-up touchscreen display embedded in Volvo's trademark center console. All the functions can be controlled via this display. Volvo appears to have borrowed a few ideas from electric car manufacturer Tesla Motors. The tablet-style display gives easy access to all the car's options and settings. Along the bottom of the center console is a row of 7 buttons and a dial. The sound system has also been thoroughly reworked. Tanju jokes that if you've ever wanted to experience a concert hall in Gothenburg, now you can just do it in an XC90. 19 Bowers & Wilkins speakers are installed, and the concert hall option activates them all. A glance at the specs reveals that even after downsizing from a 6 to a 4-cylinder engine, the Volvo XC90 still got plenty of power. The T6 we tested sends 235 kilowatts to its all-wheel drive, propelling the vehicle's 2 tons from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 6.5 seconds. Technology tester Sascha Knapp checked out the safety features. He says the new XC90 has made some advances in terms of safety. It's got, for instance, a new driver's assist that senses if the car runs off the road. This isn't a lane departure warning. It actually works passively. It activates an electronic belt tightener that keeps the seatbelt firmly tightened during an accident, he says. Many other systems use a pressurized gas chamber. Once it's empty, the tension on the seatbelt lets up very rapidly, but this electronic belt tightener keeps the tension up the entire time the vehicle is in motion.
Dieser elektronische Gurtstraffer sorgt dafür, dass die Spannung die ganze Zeit über erhalten bleibt.
Runoff road protection is standard on the new XC90. The moment the sensors detect the car leaving the asphalt, the front seat belts are tightened electronically as far as they'll go, and kept that way until the vehicle comes to a standstill. Sascha says he's also had the opportunity to drive the XC90's T8 version, which is the plug-in hybrid. It puts out 294 kilowatts of power, but carries a hefty price tag, over 76,000 euros. For that, it promises both sportiness and environmental friendliness. Now he's going to take a look. The T8 is the top-of-the-line XC90. With just 2.5 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers, this beefy SUV puts out 294 kilowatts of power, but produces just 59 grams of CO2 per kilometer. A touch of class in the interior is the shift lever made of crystal glass. Design tester Tanju Genç sums up.
The Volvo XC90
The XC90 has evolved. The front is new, but the rear is typical for Volvo. He liked the design, but not the price. But at least you get something good for the money. The SUV meets everyone's needs, looks good, and offers the safety features expected of Volvo. And what's Sascha Knopp's impression? He says the XC60 was the best-selling mid-range SUV in 2014, and this new XC90 met all his expectations. All in all, he thinks things are looking up for Volvo. In the run-up to the unveiling ceremony for its new RS, Ford rolled out the red carpet for the car's forebearers. Visitors to the carmaker's facility in Cologne loved it. The first RS was built in Cologne, says Thilo Merke. The carmaker launched the 15M RS and the 17M RS in 1967. Thilo's club is happy to have the chance to present cars from the model's history. The first of those two models featured a 55 kilowatt, 1.7 liter engine with a paint job sporting racing stripes. But it was body details in the 17M RS that would define the special model's look. Its standard V6 engine packs 66 kilowatts of power, but customers could also opt for a racier 79 kilowatt version. Inside, the dash and dials emphasize the car's sporty image. Thilo says the first motors were powerful but conventional. Later, Ford introduced turbo engines, fuel injection, and four-wheel drive, special rally racing technologies, and Ford brought them to the street. The brand first brought out a street-legal rally-style car in the 1960s. Because of its grille, the Escort RS was fondly known as the dog bone. The RS200 was an extreme example of Ford's technology transfer. Developed for Group B rally races, its huge air intake scoops fed a mid-mounted engine. When rule changes forced designers to return to more conventional vehicles, the Focus became a rally car. But even the street-legal RS pulled a respectable 154 kilowatts out of 4 cylinders. Its successor, also a front-wheel drive vehicle, was a real eye-catcher. Drivers could call on its up to 500 newton-meters of torque when necessary. Amateur racer Frank Freudsheim says this car still has its original 5-cylinder motor, and to handle it you have to watch the RPMs and torque. That means you can either torque it up close to the red line or shift early and pick up speed through torque when you accelerate. Ford started the countdown to the official launch of the latest generation RS with a surprise appearance. The prototype was piloted over the carmaker's factory grounds by rally racer and internet phenomenon Ken Block. On the way to the presentation, it was his job to show off how well the car handles, even when pushed to the limit by maneuvering past some expensive obstacles. It was a final test for the new RS, which looks set to find a new fan base outside the sport as well. Guests were impressed. The Pro was too.
Well, I mean, I'm very happy that Ford has developed, the RS again, brought the heritage back of the RS brand, but on top of that, developing it with all-wheel drive and more horsepower, than they have in the past is amazing. So it's been really cool to be a part of the development process on such a very good car.
The audience got a look at what the new top-of-the-line Focus can do, but only saw the final design after it had been put through its paces. That's when Ford pulled off the wrapping paper on the new compact made in Cologne. The look is radical for the carmaker. Ford design manager Ernesto Rupar says the Focus RS was developed here in Cologne, but the overall design was a joint effort with the Ford performance team in Detroit. Performance is everything in the compact sports car segment. Cooling, aerodynamics, and technology have to be top-notch. The model's head engineer says its motor, which is the same as the Mustang's, has a 2.3-liter EcoBoost. It's been fundamentally altered and adapted in the RS. It was implemented in conjunction with the all-wheel drive, of course, he says. That latter feature appears to have been made for Ken Block's extreme driving style. He's glad Ford has implemented the change.
So I've been pushing that for years, and Ford really listened and listened to not only me though, but the customers. That the customers wanted that too. So really, that initial development of the all-wheel drive and the idea, that was something I was able to help with. And since then, I've been able to help with the testing and tuning of the all-wheel drive system and the suspension. So that's mainly what I've been involved with.
In combination with a car maker's torque vectoring technology, the all-wheel drive can distribute up to 70% of the engine's 235 kilowatts of output to the rear wheels, and up to 100% of that to the outside wheel in a curve. So lateral acceleration of up to 1 G poses no problem. Hungry fans will have to be patient, though. It's still unclear exactly when the new RS will hit the market. Mercedes is adding sporty AMG models to its C-Class stable. Top of the line is the C63 AMG, powered by a 350 kilowatt V8 engine. The S version boasts 25 kilowatts more power. Other special features include an AMG Sport suspension with 3-stage adjustable damping and a locking rear differential. The Leon ST Cupra is Seat's sporty new station wagon. The model is available with a choice of 195 or 206 kilowatt engines. When fitted with the heftier power plant, the Leon ST Cupra can charge from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 6 seconds. Yet the car also offers a generous 1,470 liters of cargo space. Car tester Chris Castillo says this is a very special Golf, the e-Golf, with electric drive only. It has no gasoline-powered engine, so it isn't a hybrid. He's going to be testing the car in ice and snow. The Volkswagen Golf has been a fixture on streets the world over for 40 years now. But this is the first purely electric model, and it completes the car maker's range of powertrains. Many other car makers developed their electric vehicles as separate models and built them in separate plants, but not VW. The e-Golf looks just like a conventional Golf, and it's produced right alongside its gasoline-powered peers in Wolfsburg. Chris says the e-Golf is a proper Golf. It's just as uncluttered and spacious as the gasoline-powered models. The only difference is in the dashboard display, which is, of course, geared to electric drive. The electric Golf's interior is virtually identical to that of a conventional Golf. Under the hood, the electric motor hums along. Depending on the route, driving style, load, and outside temperature, the e-Golf can range between 130 and 190 kilometers on a charge. The electric motor achieves 85 kilowatts and a maximum 270 newton-meters of torque right from a standstill, and its performance on the road is quite satisfactory. There are no gears. The motor accelerates evenly up to its 140 km/h limit. Chris points out another big advantage of the electric VW. The trunk is spacious. The cargo space is 305 liters, is just as much as in the gasoline and diesel-powered Golf models. That's because the batteries are built into the floor and tunnel. And when the driver hits the brakes, the electric motor recuperates energy and recharges the batteries. Different settings or regen levels are available to determine how much the motor can be used to brake the car. A gauge in the cockpit tells the driver exactly how much energy is flowing back into the batteries. 3 driver selectable levels coordinate the interaction of the motor and the braking system. Chris confirms that even at below freezing, the e-Golf has a good range. In the Eco Plus mode, more than 130 kilometers per charge. It may look like a regular Golf on the outside, but the inside is packed with high tech. Only a few details on the body betray its presence. The shuttered blue striped grille and especially designed rims identify the e-Golf, streamline the vehicle to increase range. The e-Golf can be connected to any outlet, and it can be recharged to 80% capacity at public charging stations in 30 minutes. Chris sums up that with a relatively limited range of 150 kilometers, the e-Golf is best suited to urban driving. This is for car shoppers looking for an emissions-free and comfortable ride. But at a starting price of 35,000 euros, it's not the cheapest. Spring is in the air. The perfect season for BMW to launch the successor to its 1 Series convertible. The 2 Series convertible is just over 7 centimeters longer than its predecessor, but it's retained the brand's typical proportions with little overhang, a long hood, long wheelbase, and broad toe. Product manager Paloma Schmidt-Breakling says what really sets the car apart from its forebear is the discreet design, larger dimensions, and enhanced luxury. The silhouette is longer with flat shoulders and a very small rear. That's why it handles great and looks so sporty, she says, even when parked. Since its introduction in 2008, 130,000 units of the 1 Series compact convertible have been sold. The 2 Series convertible is flatter and longer than the 1 Series 3- and 5-door models. Roll bars are hidden inside the headrests and back. And a new construction material has gone into the car's retractable roof. Paloma says BMW was able to reduce ambient noise by 5 to 7 decibels by adding insulation. The soft top can be opened and closed in just 20 seconds at speeds up to 50 kilometers an hour. So you don't have to pull over just to put the top up or down. A nice feature. It means you can react almost instantly to sudden changes in weather. With the top down, the new model also has 20 more liters of volume in the trunk than its predecessor. For more cargo space, owners can lower the rear seats. Our test car was fitted with the brand's Sportline interior. It includes accents like red seats, red seams on the steering wheel, and red highlights on the door panels. Customers can also choose from the Advantage, Luxury Line, or M Sport packages. Our car sports the 228i inline 4-cylinder gasoline engine that packs 180 kilowatts. The automatic transmission eases up to 100 kilometers an hour in 6 seconds and top speed of 250. The new 2 Series convertible has already gone on sale in German dealerships. Now the weather just has to play along. Classic cars always turn heads. Most people love to look at vintage vehicles, and a lucky few have the pleasure of owning one. But even fewer drive theirs around every day and draw plenty of envious glances. Guy Newmark from California is one of those lucky people. For close to half a century, he's been tooling around in this 1964 Porsche.
356C Porsche that my family's owned almost since new. My dad got it, I guess, about a month after it was brought here to the United States. Then he drove it for 3 or 4 years and gave it to me when I graduated from college, and we've been inseparable. Everywhere I go, I'm with Blue.
Blue isn't just any old car. It's Guy Newmark's constant companion.
Blue has about 992,000 miles now. When I received Blue, it had a little under 80,000. My dad had put that on it, 76 or 77,000, and I put all the rest on, 20,000 miles a year that I put on the car.
Before taking over his father's yacht business, Guy was his dad's right-hand man. Back in the days before email and fax machines, Guy had to travel to his customers to do business. Sometimes he drove clear across the U.S. It was then that he developed his close relationship with Blue. And the car has held a special place in his heart to this day.
I love the color. The color is just magnificent. It's Bally Blue. It's the original Porsche color. We haven't changed it at all. And the other thing is that when you're driving a 356, you're really driving a car. There's no special handling. There's no gift of any mechanical. You're driving a car. And when I talk to people that have driven 356s and they've sold them, every person, 100% have said, I'm really sorry I sold my 356, because it's such an exhilarating driving experience.
Since 1971, Blue has shared the garage with another Porsche 356, a red 1962 convertible. But Blue remains Guy's favorite.
See, it's the original engine. We've rebuilt it twice. And matter of fact, this last month, we just did valves and went through the engine, CAD plated everything. We did rings, new muffler, and Blue's ready for another 1,000,000 miles now. I think the secret is wonderful engineering, and that combined with proper maintenance. It is a mechanical item. You do have to maintain it, and I'm pretty religious about changing the oil and taking care of it and having the valves adjusted.
Another secret to Blue's longevity is the magnet affixed to the oil filter. It catches any metal particles that pass through the filter and prevents them from entering the engine compartment. Guy also had the interior completely refurbished, although that was over 25 years ago. Everything was restored to its original condition. Only the lamb's wool seat covers are the owner's private touch. The old 356C's odometer only goes up to 99,999 miles, but Guy plans to be driving Blue for a long while to come.
Blue's a buddy. I've been living with Blue for almost 50 years, so Blue's a friend. I talk to Blue all the time. I'm in real trouble if Blue talks back to me.
He loves the Porsche, but Guy hasn't always been faithful.
Well, I bought another car, and I bought that car so I wouldn't have to drive Blue every day in case it was raining or I just didn't want to drive Blue. And the very first day I drove that car on the freeway, I was rear-ended and pushed into the back of a truck, and the car was totaled. And I think it was Blue saying, "What the hell are you doing?" And so I would drive Blue every day, wherever I go, no matter what the weather is.
Blue's odometer shows that the Porsche has so far traveled 990,823 miles, or around 1,594,575 kilometers. That's the equivalent of rounding the globe almost 40 times, or traveling to the moon and back, twice. The car still has 9,000 miles to go to crack the million mark, but after 50 years on the road, Blue is still going strong and shows no sign of slowing down. Next time on Drive It, join us as we check out Skoda's new Fabia station wagon. And see what's new for spring at the Geneva Motor Show.